Full disclosure, I'm a respiratory therapist. I have over 40 years of experience in the field. Everything I am going to say today is, to the best of my knowledge, 100% correct. They represent my opinions or the facts, as the case may be. I represent no one but myself, neither my employer or any other organization of any kind, all right? We're going to talk very little bit about masks. This may seem like an old thing to be talking about, since we are possibly at the very tail end of a long and miserable experience with COVID-19. But we're going to cover a few things nonetheless, all right? Editing out things one at a time. First things first, surgical masks. Air leaks here, air leaks here, air leaks here. The faster you breathe, the less effective these masks are. All right, that's just a fact. We don't, in fact, opinions vary as to how effective these are at preventing disease. Probably they have some effect. However, if you're breathing slowly, normally, and are more than a few feet away from somebody, these definitely do intercept. They definitely do disrupt airflow. They cause turbulent flow, and quite possibly there is some impact on the number of particles you exhale. How much they protect the wearer is really, really debatable. But since this isn't the mask we really want to talk about today, let's just say that at the very best it can be said that these have some limited effect if you're exhaling. If you're inhaling, that is really open question. We're going to talk about a couple other things first, all right? The N95 mask. Now, I talked about these more than a year ago when we were discussing how effective masks are, or rather, how they affect CO2 levels, because there was a lot of stuff on the internet which was flat out wrong, talking about how they cause you to retain CO2. And I explained physiologically why oximetry readings on people wearing masks versus not are absolutely meaningless. If you've watched any of those videos, you've wasted your time. And also those people who are claiming that these cause CO2 retention, all sorts of ills, in a physiologically normal person, which is the majority of the population out and about, that is also absolutely wrong in almost every case. Now, we're going to talk about a couple things. First of all, the N95. What does that actually mean? All right. It's 95% effective at filtering crap out. I'm not going to get into a whole lot more technical details on that. However, for those of you out there who have seen the thing, well, the particles that you're talking about, the COVID-19, the coronavirus is this big, and the ports in the mask are this big, so can't possibly filter it out. If you've watched that and believed it, that's understandable, because you're almost certainly a layman. But if you put that video out, you don't know jack crap about filtration. Filtration is not that simple. When you're talking about particle size versus the medium it goes through, and you're talking about that's it, this is it, and this is this big, and it'll go right through. You're talking about what you can call mechanical filtration or surface filtration. That's not how these work, okay? Filtration is a science. It's not something that simple. If it were that simple, everybody would be an engineer. You're not. Filtration is mechanical. It is also impact, interception, electrostatic, and honestly, I think there's a fifth one I've forgotten. These employ far more science than you have been led to believe. They work only very, very partially by mechanical filtration, all right? They work by interception and impact and electrostatic. That's why they're so effective. They do the big three of filtration. Now there are masks out there. I own some masks that are N99s, all right, that you inhale through a far larger filtration unit, and they apply all of these as well as mechanical filtration more effectively than these, that are just extremely effective. They're bulky, they're uncomfortable, they cover a huge amount of your face, and most of them have no exhalation filtration. So you, the wearer, are protected. The person in the room with you is not, if you've got the bug. More on that shortly, all right? So bear with me. I'm going to point out a couple real interesting facts to you. This is the gold standard. If it's properly fitted, that is to say, when you put it on, you hold it in place. The straps go one high, the high strap, one low, the low strap. Don't cross them in the back. That can cause folds and stuff. Then you pinch the metal bar to hold the foam against your nose, all right? These have to be properly fitted. They come in a couple different sizes. If you have facial hair, they dramatically reduce the effectiveness. As I'm wearing this now, as long as I'm breathing normally, this is pretty much 95% effective at filtering everything, all right? A few viruses may get through, but once again, we're not going to go into viral load and your body's immune response and all that stuff, okay? But here's the dirty little secret, one of them, that they don't tell you. If I'm breathing normally, in and out, fine, 100% effective. But if I get in your face and I'm screaming at you and I'm taking a deep breath so I can yell at you moron, what a rotten human being you are, guess what? The speed that you're exhaling and the speed that you're inhaling, it goes from being an N95 to an N a heck of a lot less than that. I've seen numbers as low as N40. Because the speed of the air traveling through the flow rate does not affect mechanical filtration, but it affects impact, it affects interception, and it affects electrostatic. You get the particle that would normally be impacting, going fast enough, it still impacts. You get the particle that's electrostatically filtered, which is a big part of this. It zips right on by. It is going fast enough. It's like that satellite going around a planet. Zip, it's going too fast to get captured by the gravitational well. Electrostatic is kind of like that. The particle is going so bloody fast it rips right on by. Interception's the same thing. So you cut down dramatically on effectiveness. So if you wear one of these to think you're protected, you're screaming in the face of somebody you don't like, guess what? You're blowing crap at them, and when you suck that big breath in, you're sucking in the air they exhaled. Congratulations for not knowing the truth about the mask. Now you know it. Okay. Now, there's other types of masks you may have seen, and we're going to show you one here in a second. I am generously borrowing this from a facility, and we're going to get to how they work directly. Okay, I hope this comes through on the audio decent. This is commonly known as a capper unit. They are really quite effective for what they're designed to do. For what they're not designed to do, not so much. These units have a power pack. That power pack runs fans, which you can possibly hear on the audio. They suck in air. They run it through, I think it's an N100, 99 or 100. It's an extremely effective filtration unit. And since the airflow is regulated, it's got speed control, but the airflow is regulated by the fans. It doesn't matter what I'm doing so much. They provide enough airflow that I can breathe as fast as I want, and that stuff is filtered beautifully. You can use these in a room with a highly infectious, exceedingly dangerous bug that's airborne, droplet or airborne or whatever, and they're extremely effective at keeping us safe, okay? But there are some places where these are not being used right, or they're being used right and wrong. For one thing, the air is sucked in back here. It comes down in front of my face through ports, and it provides pressure here. Just like it provides airflow, and the pressure in this mask keeps anything else from getting to my face. But there's no exhalation filter at all, okay? The air literally, if I put my hand back here, I can feel the air escaping as it's designed to do. It provides a very, very small amount of pressure, slightly pressurized atmosphere in here of cool, fresh air for me to breathe that's totally filtered. And then it goes out through the system. It's not filtered exhalation. And there are places in this country where these are being used as if they were protecting the patient from a potentially infected staff member. They're not. Not completely. There's some protection involved because stuff will impact the inside of this screen or will get caught here and there. But basically airflow is coming right back out again, unfiltered. Exactly at the rate it's going in. I'm breathing out and it's going out into the atmosphere out through no filtration whatsoever. That's not effective. And yet this, which would be highly effective in or out, these work. They filter as described, regulate the airflow yourself. These don't, okay? Just so you're aware of that. And honestly, I think an awful lot of people, even in the healthcare industry, even in healthcare itself, it hasn't occurred to them. They see these, they don't think past stage one. This protects me from you. It does not protect you from me. Simple as that. Those things are actually quite comfortable in most regards, but the problem is that strap around your head and the weight of the helmet, you wouldn't think it would be annoying. Back in the real heavy use of these, when we had a lot of patients, and we were seeing a lot of patients in where I'm at, we were wearing these things all the time, and you get a headache. They just give you a flippin' headache. Neck tension constantly, the low level of pressure around your temple, the back of your head, very irritating. Definitely worth the irritation for the protection it provided. Okay, now there's one other thing. There are places where you are seeing people wearing these, and for the purposes of what I'm talking about, just so it's clear, I'm not going to actually wear this mask, but in the circumstances that I would use the system I'm going to show you next, I would actually be wearing this mask additionally. But, you know, I mean, made in the image of God, why would I want to cover this up if I didn't absolutely have to, right? This is called a splash shield, okay? They're used all the time in emergency rooms. They're common as can be, and they're very, very effective at what they're designed for. Very effective. These protect my eyes, the mucus, the highly susceptible area of my eyeballs, from getting something in them that would be infectious, within limits. But if I put this on, okay, if I put this on, now anything aimed at my face, somebody hacks up something good, it hits this, I'm protected from that direct impact by that macro particle, that thing that might be a tiny little fleck of moisture you can barely see unless the light hits it right, but is in the microscopic world, the infectious world, it's a boulder, all right? Hits this, it's stopped, we're golden. Now, like I said, I would have this mask on for the rest of the filtration unit. I'm quite well protected. With this on and this on, I'm protected from big stuff hitting me. I'm protected from most microbes. I'm protected from all kinds of crap, all right? But there are places where they use these to protect the patients. In a COVID era, we're talking about something the size of a virus. And if you haven't noticed, viruses are really, really, really tiny. Now I'm going to show you something, all right? This might be obvious to you, maybe not. But, okay, hand outside of mask, hand inside of mask, fist inside of mask. All the way from here, all the way around here, and all the way up the side. I'm exhaling right now, believe it or not, and that air is going whoop, right around this thing. This doesn't have any effect. To the best of my knowledge, zero or near zero impact. If I'm in your face, if I'm in your space, and I'm wearing only this, I could just as well be wearing a no viruses allowed bandana wrapped around my forehead. It would be just as effective. Okay? So, those are just a couple things I thought you might be interested in. There's no massive point to this except those couple of things. And if you have any questions about masks, put them in the comments. Thanks for your time.